Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Friday, January 19th. And the headlines, let the meltdown begin. Weekend, we'll see temperatures in the 40s and we'll have about 5 to 8 tenths of an inch of precipitation. Goodbye to the snowfall for most of the areas. Yesterday we had a high of 30, a low of 23 with no precipitation. And today we'll get above freezing for the first time in a while. And again, we'll start to melt quite a bit of the snow. I think most of it will all be gone by the time we get into Monday afternoon. But we may replenish a little bit of that as we get into Tuesday, as the wraparound system will bring in some snow showers to the area, especially closer to Lake Michigan. But I think all areas will at least see a coating to maybe a couple of inches, and we'll follow that here through the weekend. As far as temperatures out there on this early morning, temperatures mainly pretty uniform in the low to mid 20s with lots of cloud cover. And again, we'll see more in the way of sunshine, I think, though, later on today and into at least the first half of Saturday before the clouds roll in Saturday night, and then the precipitation will break out Sunday morning, and that could be in the form of some freezing drizzle, sleet, or maybe even some snowflakes once you get up around Claremont Pleasant area. Why are we warming up? Well, a couple of indications that we knew the warm air was coming in is we're coming out of the cold phases of 8, 1, and 2 here for the eastern U.S., going into the warm phases of 4 and 5 over the next 15 days. And you can see phase 4, phase 5, phase 6, and 7 are all pretty warm phases. And again, so overall, I think we're going to average about 5 to 7 degrees per day above normal during that stretch. That doesn't mean you can't get a snowstorm. And certainly there's going to be plenty of precipitation as upper ridging develops across the eastern U.S. as far as heights, not necessarily as far as weather, but that'll mean more warmer temperatures for the eastern U.S. As far as the Southern Oscillation Index, another indicator that we were going to go into a ridging pattern across the eastern U.S. with warmer temperatures, we began to come out of the crash of the negatives, and now we're moving into some very positive, again, pressures as far as the Southern Oscillation Index goes. And you can see over the last 30 days, these are the daily contributions. This is the 30-day average now moving into the positive. And again, that's a sign of warmer weather for the eastern U.S. And on the satellite view, you can see a lot of that surge of moisture and warm temperatures moving into the western U.S. as we become more zonal. And again, that'll spread in over the weekend. We expect out of this area a low pressure system in the Rockies to drop down into the Texas Panhandle. It's going to move to the northeast right across Wisconsin, probably northern lower Michigan as it looks right now. And there'll be quite a snowstorm on the back side of that across portions of Nebraska and the Dakotas up into Minnesota, northern Iowa, northern Wisconsin into the UP. And again, there could be some areas that may get a foot of snow out of this system. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. For us, we'll be in the warm sector. Looks like plenty of shower activity and maybe even a thunderstorm. That's not in the forecast. But if you get a thunderstorm over southern lower Michigan, don't be surprised here as we get into Sunday evening, Sunday night into Monday morning would probably be the best chance. Nothing out there on radar. And if we look at the weather map for today, again, systems moving off to our north. This is a system we'll keep an eye on. It's going to drop down into the southwest, organize itself for the Texas Panhandle, increase in its intensity as it moves to the northeast. So with that strong storm, we'll also see some pretty breezy conditions over the weekend. So with that warm temperature, some sunshine here over the next day and a half, and some rain over the weekend, breezy conditions, we're going to have a rapid snow melt. I think most areas away from the snow belt areas will have no snow on the ground, again, by the time we get into Saturday. Here's our system for Saturday, getting itself organized over the southwest. And as we move into Sunday, we expect that low pressure system to really get itself together and begin to make its move to the northeast. So early Sunday morning across central and northern Michigan, we could see a mix of precipitation, but again, that'll move off. We'll see rain mainly as we get into Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. And again, the area thunderstorms, don't be surprised if we see a random thunderstorm coming up into southern lower Michigan, certainly for the Ohio Valley. But again, this will be a pretty wet system. And I expect, again, about 6 tenths to 9 tenths. That's my final forecast. But some areas could locally see up to about 1 1/4 inches, 1 1 1/3 inches. And again, a low chance for a thunderstorm. And we'll track area locations. Again, to be a good forecast, I want our average with all 13 stations to end up someplace in this range right here is what I'm targeting right now. If anything, I think it may even be higher than this, but I think this is a pretty good forecast range right now. As far as precipitation from the WPC over the next 5 days, indicating a large area of around 3/4 of an inch to possibly an inch and a third across northwestern sections of lower Michigan. This area back here, this is going to be the deformation area of some pretty heavy snows, again, moving up into portions of the upper peninsula. Can't rule out some pretty good snows across far northern lower Michigan, but I think the best bet will be across the central and western portions of the UP. As far as the next 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day outlooks, you can see plenty of warm temperatures across the eastern U.S. But if you notice, Michigan is right kind of on the area where there could be quite a battle zone setting up. So I would not be surprised to see a snowstorm even for our area during this period. And again, a pretty active period with those warm temperatures, lots of precipitation expected. So it's going to be a pretty busy forecast period over the extended outlook. And if we look at the GFS, take it with a grain of salt, but over the next 16 days, plenty of precipitation across much of the MAC and LAC areas. It'll just have to be determined if most of this is going to be rain or if there'll be a snowstorm embedded within this next 16 days. As far as the forecast goes, today highs in the upper 30s, will be around 40 tomorrow, and then we'll jump up or stay around 40 on Sunday with all the rain, and maybe up to 47. Certainly mid 40s are a pretty good bet. And again, we could see plenty of rainfall, and then eventually as we get into Monday night, Tuesday morning, we expect that to change over to snow. And there could be some minor accumulations as temperatures fall back into the low 30s after lows in the upper 20s, and then we'll see those temperatures fall during the afternoon for another cold day as we get into the day on Wednesday. As far as weather watch, you can see our winter storm watch off to the southwest coming out of Nebraska into portions of northwestern Iowa, southeastern Minnesota, into west central Wisconsin. I expect those watches to expand to cover more of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and eventually into at least the western UP as we go through the weekend. Thanks for stopping by and have yourself a great day, a great weekend.